Trade your meal for my teddy bear, human. My brother hasn't eaten in days." Ethan Brooks stood in the long line of the trade station, rubbing his hands together. The air was cold, even inside, and the smell of metal and machinery made his stomach twist. The station had been damaged in a border skirmish between human forces and the Korvax, a tall alien species known for their sharp claws and sharp eyes. Many of the corridors were blocked, and power flickered in places. Yet people still moved through the station, trading, repairing, or just trying to survive. Ethan clutched the small bag he carried, containing a few personal items and his ration card. Today he would get one hot meal, maybe a bowl of stew with a bit of bread. It was not much, but it would keep him alive. He could feel hunger in his stomach, gnawing at him like a small, angry animal. Around him, other humans and aliens jostled in line, some arguing over priority, some ignoring each other completely. In this place, survival meant acting fast. As Ethan waited, he noticed movement out of the corner of his eye. A small figure approached him. She was no taller than 4 feet, with pale green skin that shimmered faintly under the station lights. Her large eyes were wide and nervous, darting around as if she was afraid someone might stop her. Clutched tightly in her tiny arms was a stuffed toy, a small teddy bear with patched fur and a crooked smile. Ethan blinked. He had seen many species in his life, but there was something different about this child. She looked desperate, almost hollow, and yet there was courage in her small frame. She stopped in front of him and without a word held out the teddy bear. "Trade," she whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan frowned. "Trade," he repeated, her eyes glistened. "Food," she said, pointing to the tray in his hands. "My brother hasn't eaten in days." Ethan looked around. No one was paying attention. Other aliens in line were busy arguing over credits or ignoring children. He glanced down at the girl again. She looked so fragile, her clothes ragged, her tiny hands shaking as she held out the teddy bear. Something in him stirred. Maybe it was instinct, maybe it was memory. He remembered his little sister back home, how she had once cried because she was hungry and he had shared his bread with her. He looked at the food in his hands, the small portion of stew, a piece of bread, some fruit. It was not much, but it could save a life. Without thinking too much, he set the tray down and pushed it gently toward her. "Take it," he said softly. Her eyes widened in surprise. "For real?" Ethan nodded. "For real, don't worry about paying me back." She blinked rapidly, then hugged the teddy bear tightly to her chest, tears welling in her big eyes. thank you so much," she whispered. The line around them moved, but no one interfered. Ethan noticed some aliens staring at him with confusion, their mouths slightly open. In their cultures, no one gave anything for free. Everything had a cost, yet Ethan did not think about that. He only thought about the small green-eyed child and her brother somewhere nearby, weak and hungry. "Where is your brother?" Ethan asked. The girl glanced around nervously. "Over there," she said, pointing toward a dark corner near the station walls. "Please hurry." Ethan followed her cautiously. The corridors were narrow and dimly lit, with flickering panels and a faint smell of oil. Every few steps, he had to step over wires or broken crates. The girl walked quickly, her small feet making little noises on the metal floor. She paused occasionally to peek around corners, making sure no one followed. Finally, they reached a small alcove behind a maintenance bay. There, curled up on a dirty mat, was a boy no older than 7 or 8. His skin was the same pale green, but he looked almost gray with weakness. His chest moved slowly as he tried to breathe, and his eyes opened just enough to see Ethan and the girl standing there. "Brother," the girl whispered, holding out the tray. The boy's eyes widened slightly when he saw the food. His tiny arms stretched toward it, but he could barely move. Ethan knelt down beside him, lifting the tray closer. "Here," he said gently. "Eat a little, it's okay." The boy managed to take a small spoonful of stew. His face lit up faintly, but he looked so weak that Ethan felt his chest tighten. He handed him more patiently until the boy had enough to fill his stomach a little. The girl hugged her brother, tears running down her cheeks. Ethan stayed with them for a moment, watching. He could feel something strange spreading through him, a sense of pride and warmth, even though he had lost much himself. This small act, giving a meal to a hungry child, felt more important than any orders he had followed or any danger he had faced on the front lines. "Who are you?" Ethan asked quietly. The girl looked up at him, hesitant. "I'm Nira. This is my brother, Kale." "Why are you here alone?" Ethan asked. "Our parents, they are gone," she said softly. Her voice broke. "We escaped the attackers, but we had nothing. Everyone else, everyone else took everything." Ethan's jaw tightened. He wanted to say something that would make her pain disappear, but he could not. Instead, he simply nodded, understanding more than he could say. Nira placed the teddy bear gently on the ground next to Ethan. "You can keep it," she said. "It's for you, for saving my brother." Ethan shook his head. "I can't take it, it belongs to you," she insisted, her eyes bright. "No, you understand. Most adults ignore us, but you helped. You saw us, please." Ethan looked at the bear. Its fur was old, stitched in some places, but its button eyes seemed to sparkle. He realized that for Nira and Kale, it was the only comfort they had left. Yet the gesture made him smile, a small, tired smile. "All right," he said. "I'll take it, but you keep it in your heart too." Nira smiled faintly, relieved. "I will," she whispered. Ethan stayed with the children for a few more minutes, making sure Kale could sit up and eat a little more. The sounds of the station outside seemed distant, almost unreal. For a moment it felt like the war and the chaos did not exist. There was only life and survival and a simple act of kindness. Finally, Ethan rose to leave. "I have to go back," he said, "but I'll try to come back. I'll check on you." Nira nodded. "Thank you, Ethan, really." You are not like others." Ethan smiled. "I just do what I can." As he walked back toward the main corridors of the station, he felt eyes watching him. Traders, guards, and aliens who had ignored the girl were now staring. Some looked puzzled. Some whispered among themselves. He did not care. He thought about Nira and Kale, about the small green eyes full of hope and fear, about the way he had felt when he gave them the meal. He realized something deep inside him had changed. Humans, he thought, were more than their wars, more than their weapons, more than the small struggles for power. Humans were capable of compassion, even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. As he passed a flickering panel, he heard a soft voice behind him. "Thank you, human." He turned slightly. Nira was there again, standing in the shadows with the teddy bear. She waved, then disappeared down the corridor with Kale. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest he could not explain. For the first time in many months, he felt hope. Not for the war, not for the station, not for himself, but for the small sparks of life that survived even in the harshest places. He knew that somewhere in the quiet corners of the galaxy, simple acts of kindness could change everything. And maybe, just maybe, humans could teach other species that saving a life was more powerful than destroying one. Ethan turned toward the food distribution line again, ready to get his own meal, but thinking of Nira and Kale the whole time. The station was noisy, dangerous, and cold, but he walked with a little more purpose. Somewhere in the shadows, a small green-eyed girl and her brother were safe tonight, and he had a hand in that. And that was enough, for now. Ethan walked back through the narrow corridors of the station, still thinking about Nira and her little brother Kale. Even though the station was crowded and noisy, a strange quiet settled in his mind. He could not stop thinking about the small, green-eyed children hiding in the corner, and how he had given up his food without asking for anything in return. As he reached the main hall of the station, he noticed something strange. Traders and aliens were talking in low voices, glancing at him, pointing and whispering. Some of the humans in the hall were staring too. Ethan felt a little nervous. He had no idea why everyone was watching him. He tried to ignore them and went toward the area where he could pick up his next task for the day. Suddenly, a human woman approached him. She was short, with brown hair tied back and a calm but firm expression on her face. "Ethan Brooks?" she asked. "Yes," he said cautiously. "Who are you?" "I'm Lily Adams. I work in the medical bay," she said. "I noticed you skipped your meal just now and I heard you gave it to someone else. That's unusual." Ethan frowned. "I just gave it to a child. She and her brother were hungry." Lily's eyes softened. "I see. That makes sense. I've been here for years. Most humans would not even notice. But sometimes people like you do more than anyone expects." Ethan shrugged. "It was nothing. I only gave them food, that's all." Lily shook her head. "It's not nothing. Food is hard to come by here, and helping children in this station is not common. Do you know who those children are?" Ethan shook his head. "No, they are just hiding, afraid." Lily's eyes widened. "Hiding, yes, but there's more. That teddy bear the girl carried, it's important. Very important. Among some alien species, it marks the child as part of a royal family. If what I suspect is true, you just helped people who many thought were lost forever." Ethan blinked. "Royal family?" he asked, confused. "Yes," Lily said, "and not just anyone. These children are considered heirs in their world. If the wrong people find them, they could be in serious danger." Ethan's stomach tightened. He had no idea that helping a child could have such big consequences, yet he felt the same calm warmth he had felt before. "I only wanted to help them," he said. "I know," Lily said, smiling faintly. "That's why you are human. You act first and think later. It's rare among other species. They always calculate the cost before helping." Ethan thought about that. He had never thought about cost. He only thought about what was right. In war, in border conflicts, people often ignored children, families, and small lives. But he could not. Lily took a small device from her pocket. "Come with me. I can help you make sure those children are safe for now. The medical bay has some supplies. If Kale hasn't eaten in days, he may be weak. And I can help Neera too." Ethan followed her quickly through the twisting corridors of the station. Along the way, they passed aliens of many kinds, tall ones with scales, short ones with fur, some with shining eyes. Most ignored the humans, focused on their own business. But a few paused, watching Ethan closely, whispering to each other. Finally, they reached a small medical bay. It was crowded but cleaner than most of the station. Lily motioned for Ethan to bring the children in. Neera and Kale were there, sitting close together, their small bodies trembling slightly. "Stay here," Lily said gently. "I will check on them." Ethan nodded and waited. He could hear Kale coughing quietly and Neera whispering words of comfort to her brother. It made him ache to hear them so weak and scared. After a few minutes, Lily returned, carrying some small nutrient packs and basic medical equipment. "Kale is very weak," she said. "If he hadn't eaten your meal, he could have collapsed. Neera is scared, but she's strong for her brother. We need to make sure they rest and get enough food for now." Ethan helped prepare the food, breaking the packs into small portions. Kale ate slowly but steadily, and Ethan sat beside him, gently encouraging him. Neera watched closely, occasionally touching the bear she still carried. "You know," Ethan said quietly, "I didn't think I was doing something special. I just couldn't leave them hungry." Lily smiled. "That is exactly what makes it special. You act out of compassion, not duty. Most of the people here act for credit, for reward, or for safety. Humans like you change things." Ethan did not reply. He focused on Kale, making sure the boy swallowed each bite. Every time Kale's eyes brightened a little, Ethan felt a strange happiness. It was different from winning a battle or completing a mission. This was real. This mattered. While they worked, rumors spread throughout the station. Traders whispered, guards looked twice, and other aliens discussed quietly. A human had given food to children for nothing in return. No one could understand why. In their cultures, every action had a cost. Giving away something valuable without payment was almost unheard of. By the time Kale had eaten enough to sit upright, Ethan felt sweat on his brow from the effort and worry. But he also felt pride. He had helped save a life, and even if the galaxy did not understand, he knew it was the right thing to do. "Thank you, Ethan," Neera whispered softly, her small hand brushing his arm. You saved my brother." Ethan smiled faintly. "No one should go hungry, Neera, especially not kids." Lily watched them quietly. "These children are more important than you realize," she said. "The teddy bear they have, it identifies them as heirs of a world that was attacked. If the authorities find them or the wrong people, they could be taken away. For now, you need to be careful. Helping them is noble, but it can be dangerous too." Ethan frowned. "I don't care about danger. I just want them safe." Lily's lips curved in a small smile. "That is exactly why humans are so unpredictable. Other species would calculate danger first. Humans act on instinct, on heart. That is why others fear you sometimes and why they can respect you." Ethan looked at her, not fully understanding. But before he could reply, a loud voice echoed through the corridor. "Hey, who let the human near the children?" Ethan and Lily froze. A group of aliens had entered the medical bay, their eyes sharp and their expressions angry. They were tall, with pale scales and long fingers. One stepped forward. "These children are important. They belong to the ruling family. Who gave you permission to feed them?" Ethan stood slowly, keeping his hands visible. "I didn't ask permission, they were hungry." The alien's eyes narrowed. "That is not the question. Who gave you the right to touch the heirs of our people?" Neera hid behind Kale, clutching the teddy bear. Kale whimpered softly. Ethan felt a surge of protectiveness. He stepped in front of the children. "They are just kids. You can't punish them for being hungry." The alien stared at him, confused. "You defend them." "Yes," Ethan said firmly. "I defend anyone who is helpless. No one should starve." The alien looked around, noticing the gathered crowd in the medical bay. Traders and other aliens whispered and watched. Some seemed puzzled, others looked uncomfortable. Finally, the alien shook its head. "Humans are strange." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Maybe. But sometimes humans do what is right, even if it is not convenient." The alien looked at him, silent for a long moment. Then it motioned for the others to follow, speaking softly to them in a language Ethan could not understand. Finally they left, muttering, still glancing back in surprise. Neera peeked out from behind her brother. They didn't hurt us," she said softly. Ethan knelt down beside them. "No, they won't. For now you are safe." Lily exhaled and smiled. "You did well." But word spreads fast in the station. People will remember what you did. Some will respect it, others will be confused. Humans don't act like this often. It is unusual." Ethan nodded. He did not care about respect. He cared about the children. He watched Kale eat more slowly, Neera brushing his hair back. Something inside him settled. For the first time, the station did not feel as cold or dangerous. There was warmth here. There was life. The rest of the day passed quietly. Ethan stayed with the children, helping Lily distribute some nutrient packs, making sure Kale rested, and talking softly with Neera. The teddy bear remained close, a small symbol of hope and comfort in the harsh station. As the night came, the lights in the station dimmed and most traders and aliens left for rest. Ethan found a quiet corner and sat beside the children. "Sleep well," he whispered. "Tomorrow, we will make sure you have more food and a safe place to stay." Neera smiled, hugging her brother close. "Thank you, Ethan. You are different from other humans. You care." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. "I just do what is right, that is all." And in the quiet of the station, with distant machinery humming and the lights flickering, a human, two small alien children, and a worn teddy bear rested for the night. For now, they were safe. For now, kindness had won in a small corner of the galaxy. Ethan thought about the future. He knew the children's story was bigger than just this station. He knew that somewhere their family and enemies would be searching. But for tonight, he felt proud to be human. Humans acted with heart. Humans saved lives. And sometimes, that small act of compassion could change everything. The next morning, the trade station was busy as usual. Traders shouted their offers, cargo drones zipped between corridors, and guards checked IDs and supplies. Yet in the corner of the station, a quiet tension had begun to spread. Rumors of a human giving food to royal children had reached the ears of more than just curious traders. Ethan Brooks woke early. He did not sleep well. Even though Kale and Neera had rested peacefully last night, Ethan could not shake the feeling that the small act of kindness he had performed might have bigger consequences. He wondered if someone important had noticed. He found Lily Adams in the medical bay already preparing more nutrient packs. "Good morning," he said quietly. "Good morning," Lily replied. "I think word has reached the authorities. We may have visitors today." Ethan frowned. "Authorities?" "Yes," Lily said. "Officials from Neera and Kale's home planet. They are part of the ruling council and they may not understand why a human helped them. They usually expect payment, loyalty, or obedience from anyone who touches their children." Ethan swallowed. "Do they punish people who help?" "Sometimes," Lily said. "They are strict, they follow rules, but humans are unusual. That may confuse them." Ethan nodded, not really sure what to think. He went to the corner where the children were. Neera was already awake, brushing her brother's hair gently. Kale was weaker than most children, but he was stronger than yesterday. His small green eyes looked up at Ethan when he entered. "Good morning," Ethan said softly. "Did you sleep well?" Kale nodded slightly, still weak. "Hungry," he whispered. "Then we'll fix that," Ethan said. "Lily has more food, and we will make sure you eat slowly this time." The children ate under Ethan's watchful eye. Neera held the teddy bear close, looking up at Ethan every few seconds as if to make sure he was still there. After breakfast, Lily knocked on the door of the medical bay. "They are here," she said softly. "The council members, you need to be ready." Ethan followed her to the main hall of the station. Outside, a small group had gathered. They were unlike any aliens Ethan had seen before. Their skin shimmered with faint colors like oil on water. Their eyes were bright, almost glowing, and their clothes were ceremonial, lined with patterns and symbols that Ethan could not understand. One stepped forward. "I am Chiral," the alien said in a calm, commanding voice. "I am a representative of the ruling council of Neera and Kale's home world. We have been searching for these children." Ethan stepped in front of Neera and Kale protectively. "They are safe. That is all that matters," he said firmly. Chiral's eyes narrowed. "A human gave them food. You interfered in matters that are not yours." "I fed children who were starving," Ethan said. "No one should go hungry, no matter their family, no matter their status. That is all I did." The council members looked at each other in shock. Whispers spread among them. One of the taller ones spoke softly and Chiral's eyes widened. Then Chiral looked back at Ethan. "You acted without asking, without expecting reward," Ethan nodded. "Yes, I acted because it was right, nothing else matters." The aliens stared at him. Some could not understand. Some seemed angry, but a few looked thoughtful, almost amazed. Neera clutched Kale's hand, hiding behind him, watching carefully. She seemed both proud and scared at the same time. "You are strange," Chiral said slowly. "Humans do not act like this." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Maybe humans are not all the same, but some of us care. Some of us protect the helpless." The council members remained silent. Finally, Chiral spoke again. "You will not harm them." "No," Ethan said firmly. "I am human. I will protect them. That is all I promise." One of the council members stepped forward. "We will take the children under our care soon, but for now it seems a human saved their lives." Ethan nodded. He felt a strange satisfaction, but he also felt worry. He had no idea what the council would decide next. Lily whispered beside him, "They are shocked. They never expected a human to act this way. They may see you as a threat or as someone honorable." Ethan looked down at Neera and Kale. The children seemed calmer now that the council was speaking respectfully. Neera hugged the teddy bear to her chest. "They are not going to hurt us?" she asked softly. "I don't think so," Ethan said. "Not if we stay calm and do what's right." The council examined the children. They noticed the teddy bear and paused. Kyle touched the small toy lightly. "This identifies them," he said. "You understand the significance?" Ethan shook his head. "I only know it is important to them." Kyle nodded slowly. "Yes, it is a ceremonial object. It shows their heritage. You gave food to royalty." Ethan felt a little embarrassed. "I didn't know. I only saw hungry children." "Then perhaps," Kyle said, "humans are unusual, but it is not bad." Ethan looked around. Other aliens in the station were watching quietly. Some whispered to each other. Some looked confused, but no one interfered. The children were safe. Kyle stepped closer. "We will take care of them now, but know this, your actions are noted. It is not common for humans to act this way. Perhaps there is something admirable in your kind." Ethan nodded quietly. "I only did what I thought was right." The council members prepared to leave with the children. Neera hugged Kale tightly and the teddy bear stayed in her arms. She looked at Ethan. "Thank you," she whispered. "You're welcome," Ethan said softly. "Take care of each other." As the council left, the station seemed quieter. The whispers and murmurs of other aliens faded, but Ethan felt something had changed. Humans were noticed now not for their weapons or their trade skills or their presence, but for their compassion. Lily smiled. "You did well. You may have saved them in more ways than just feeding them. You showed others that humans can care, even in the harshest places." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't do it to impress anyone. I just couldn't leave them hungry." "That is exactly why they respect you," Lily said softly. "It's not calculation, not strategy, it's heart." Ethan looked back at the corridors where Neera and Kale had been. He thought about the war, the station, the dangers, and the chaos. Yet for one moment everything felt simple. Protecting those who cannot protect themselves, that was real strength. By evening, Ethan returned to the medical bay. Supplies were limited, but Kale and Neera had enough food for the night. The children played quietly with the teddy bear. Neera had cleaned it as best she could and it looked almost new. Ethan watched them for a moment, then spoke quietly. "You two are brave. You survived a lot, but you are stronger together." Neera smiled. "We have you too," she said. Ethan shook his head. "I'm just one person, you have each other, that's what matters most." Lily approached. "Tomorrow we may have more visitors, other council members may arrive. The children's safety is still important, but for tonight, rest." Ethan nodded. He looked at the children one last time and felt hope. He realized something about humans. Even in a galaxy full of danger, cruelty, and indifference, humans could show kindness that no one expected. And sometimes, that kindness could echo farther than anyone imagined. As the lights dimmed in the station, Ethan stayed in the corner, watching over Kale and Neera. Outside, ships flew past the station, carrying traders, soldiers, and travelers. But inside, in the quiet, a human and two small alien children rested for the night, alive because someone chose to act with heart. Ethan thought about the future. He knew the children's story was far from over. Their family and enemies would search for them. But for now, compassion had won in a small corner of the galaxy. And that was enough, for tonight. The trade station had quieted down since the council officials left with Neera and Kale. The usual chatter of traders and workers continued, but there was a subtle change in the atmosphere. Whispers followed Ethan Brooks wherever he went. Some were curious, some were impressed, and some were suspicious. Humans were not always easy to understand. Ethan walked toward the small cafeteria, hoping to finally eat his own meal. He had skipped so many days to survive, and helping the children had left him hungrier than ever. As he approached, a tall alien trader stopped him. "You are the human," the alien said, his voice low. "The one who fed the royal children," Ethan nodded slowly. "Yes, I fed them, that is all. The alien's eyes widened. No one does that without expecting reward. You confuse us. Ethan shrugged. I only did what was right, that's all. The alien stared at him for a moment, then nodded slowly. Perhaps humans are different than we thought. He walked away, leaving Ethan to think about the words. Different, yes. Humans acted in ways that others could not predict. Sometimes that was dangerous. Sometimes that was admirable. Ethan finally sat down and began eating. The stew was warm and salty, the bread soft. He savored each bite, thinking about Nira and Kale. They had survived because someone chose kindness over fear or calculation, and for a human that was natural. Protecting those who could not protect themselves came instinctively. As he ate, Lily Adams approached him. The news of what you did is spreading, she said softly. Other stations are talking about it. Some aliens are reconsidering humans. They see that humans are not only fighters, they are protectors. Ethan looked up. Do you think it matters? Lily smiled faintly. It already does. In a galaxy full of calculation and greed, someone acting purely out of compassion is noticed. Humans are becoming respected and feared in a different way. Ethan frowned. Feared? Yes, Lily said. Not because of weapons or armies, but because humans can act without rules. They can be unpredictable, and when humans fight or defend, they do it with all their strength. You showed that today. You acted with heart, not strategy. That is unusual. Ethan thought about the council officials. They had been shocked. Even Kyle had admitted humans were strange, and yet they had not punished him. That meant something. That meant humans could teach other species more than just warfare. They could teach values. Meanwhile, far above the station, communication channels were buzzing. Reports of a human who fed alien royalty had reached other trade hubs. Traders discussed it quietly in corridors. Some laughed at the idea. Others were impressed. A few worried. If humans acted with this much compassion, what else were they capable of? Back in the medical bay, Ethan checked on Kale and Nira. The children were sleeping, resting safely in a small room Lily had prepared. The teddy bear was between them, a small symbol of comfort. Ethan felt a deep satisfaction. He had done the right thing. That was all that mattered. But soon, more aliens arrived at the station. Not council officials, but other species, merchants, guards, and travelers who had heard the story. Some came out of curiosity. Some came to judge. A few came to learn. They gathered around, asking questions, observing Ethan quietly as he moved through the station. You are the human, one alien said. Why did you do it? You could have kept your meal, ignored the children, or even reported them. Ethan looked at him calmly. Because they were hungry, that is all. Hunger is the same everywhere. Pain is the same everywhere. I could not ignore that. The alien stared, clearly not expecting that answer. No calculation, no reward, Ethan shook his head. No reward, no calculation, just what is right. Others whispered among themselves. Some seemed confused, some looked thoughtful. Slowly, the station began to change. Traders who had once argued over small profits began sharing small items with each other. Guards offered food to hungry travelers. Aliens who normally ignored children now glanced at the young and weak with concern. A small act of kindness had started a ripple through the station. Lily watched Ethan quietly. Do you see it? She asked. Your actions are changing this place. One human, one small act, and others are beginning to follow. You are teaching something bigger than food or survival. Ethan nodded quietly. He had not thought about that. He only thought about saving 2 children. But now he realized the truth. Humans could influence the galaxy not only with their strength, but with their heart. Later, a communication alert came from another station hub. Ethan walked over to check. A group of alien representatives had sent a message asking to meet him. They wanted to learn more about humans. They wanted to understand why humans acted differently than other species. You see, Lily said, humans are being noticed. For the right reasons. Ethan nodded. He did not like attention, but he understood. Humans had a reputation to build, and this was the start. That evening, Ethan returned to the medical bay. Kale and Nira were awake, playing quietly. Ethan watched them, a gentle smile on his face. The teddy bear was still in their small hands, a symbol of hope. "You know," Ethan said softly, "your teddy bear is very important, not just to you but to everyone. It helped me understand what is worth protecting." Nira looked up, smiling faintly. "I know, you saved my brother, you are special." Ethan shook his head. "I'm not special, I just did what anyone should do." But deep inside, he knew humans were different. Humans could act with courage, with heart, without expecting anything in return. And that made them powerful in a way others did not always understand. As night fell, the station quieted. Lights flickered softly, and the sounds of distant ships echoed through the corridors. Ethan sat near the children, watching them sleep. For now, they were safe. For now, kindness had won. And somewhere in the galaxy, whispers of the human who gave food to royal children began to spread. Humans were no longer only warriors, only traders, only outsiders. Humans were becoming known as protectors. Ethan felt hope. The future might be dangerous. The children's family and enemies would eventually come for them. But humans, he realized, could change the galaxy not only with weapons but with heart. And that was a power no one could ignore. The next morning, the trade station was unusually quiet. Most traders had left for the day, leaving corridors empty except for the occasional maintenance bot and a few aliens moving cautiously. But the quiet was not normal. It felt like the calm before something important. Ethan Brooks walked through the hallways, carrying a small pack of supplies for Nira and Kale. Lily Adams walked beside him, quietly explaining the plans for the day. "The council has sent more representatives," she said. "They want to make sure the children are safe. Some of them are cautious, some curious. All of them are interested in humans now." Ethan nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility. The children had already survived danger, hunger, and fear, but now the galaxy's attention was turning to them, and to him. When they arrived at the meeting hall, a small crowd of alien officials and traders was already there. Some wore ceremonial robes, others had badges of rank. All of them watched Ethan closely. Nira and Kale were sitting safely with Lily, holding the teddy bear together. Kyle, the leader of the council representatives from the children's home world, stepped forward. His skin shimmered slightly in the hall lights and his glowing eyes were sharp. "Ethan Brooks," he said, "we have watched your actions carefully. You gave food to our children without asking for credit, without calculation, without reward. That is unusual for humans." Ethan stood tall, keeping his voice calm. "I only fed them because they were hungry. Nothing else matters." The council members whispered among themselves. Some seemed shocked. Some were impressed. Others appeared confused. One of the smaller officials, with smooth purple skin and large eyes, finally spoke. "Your actions have changed how we see humans. Not all of them, but enough to notice. A human's heart is not like other species. It can protect, even when it is dangerous, even when it costs them everything." Ethan nodded. "I did what anyone should do, protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is all." The council members looked at the children, who were now smiling faintly, safe in the hall. Nira clutched the teddy bear and Kale leaned against her. The small symbols of their heritage glowed faintly in the eyes of the council. They realized these children had survived because a human chose compassion over fear. Kyle's voice softened. "You will not be punished. Your actions are noted, and not just by us. Other stations, other species are speaking of humans now. Humans are not only warriors, humans are not only traders. Humans can act with heart, and sometimes that heart changes the galaxy." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. He had never wanted recognition. He had only acted out of instinct. But now, even the galaxy's leaders were beginning to see what he already knew. Humans could be more than their weapons. Humans could be protectors. "Thank you," Nira whispered softly, holding the teddy bear tightly. "You saved us." Ethan knelt beside her and Kale. "No one should go hungry. No one should suffer alone. That is all I did." Lily smiled at Ethan quietly. "This may be the beginning of something bigger. Others will learn from you. From humans, compassion is powerful." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't do it to teach anyone. I only couldn't ignore them." Kyle stepped closer. "Perhaps that is what makes humans dangerous. You act from heart, not rules. Others calculate, others wait. Humans act immediately. And when humans fight, when humans defend, they do so with everything they have. That is something to respect and fear." Ethan nodded. He understood. Humans were unpredictable, but in the best way. They could protect life in ways others could not. That was power in itself. The council representatives finished their meeting, and they promised to take the children safely back to their home world. They would provide care, protection, and food, ensuring that Nira and Kale would never suffer hunger again. Before leaving, Nira approached Ethan. "You can have this," she said, handing him the teddy bear. "It belongs to someone who understands what it means to protect." "You saved me and Kale." Ethan hesitated, then took it gently. The teddy bear was worn, but its small smile seemed brighter than ever. "I will keep it safe," he said softly, "and I will remember why I saved you." Nira hugged her brother tightly. "We'll be okay now," she said, looking at Ethan. "Because you believed in us." Ethan smiled faintly. "Just promise me you'll stay brave and protect each other." The council members nodded, and the children were escorted safely onto a small transport ship. Ethan watched them go, feeling both relief and pride. They were safe. They had survived, and humans had made a difference. Back in the station, the corridors were calmer. Traders and aliens moved with new respect. Stories of Ethan's actions were shared quietly, spreading from station to station. Aliens began to whisper about humans differently, not just as fighters, not just as traders, but as protectors. As beings capable of courage and compassion that could inspire even the strongest species. Lily walked beside Ethan as they returned to the cafeteria. "You may not realize it," she said, "but what you did will echo across the galaxy. Others will see humans differently. Humans are not only dangerous in war, they are dangerous in their heart, and that is powerful." Ethan shook his head. "I just did what I thought was right." Lily smiled. "That is exactly why it matters. That is why humans are respected now. Others will follow, but only because they see what humans can do." Ethan nodded quietly. He felt a strange satisfaction. For years, humans had been outsiders, feared and misunderstood. Now, through a small act of kindness, they had begun to earn respect. He returned to his small quarters later that evening. The station was quiet, lights flickering softly. He placed the teddy bear on a small shelf, a reminder of the children he had saved. The bear seemed to smile in the dim light, as if it understood the journey it had been through. Ethan sat down, reflecting on everything. The war, the border conflicts, the hunger, the chaos of the station, it all seemed smaller now. What mattered most was compassion. Protecting those who could not protect themselves, acting with heart even when it cost something. For the first time in a long while he felt hope, not just for himself, not just for the children, but for humanity. Humans could be more than outsiders. Humans could be teachers, protectors, and examples of courage that the galaxy could not ignore. The night passed quietly. Outside, distant ships flew past the station, carrying travelers, traders, and soldiers. But inside, in a small corner, a human sat quietly with a teddy bear, knowing that life and kindness had won, if only for a moment. By morning, messages began arriving from other stations. Traders who had heard of Ethan's actions shared the story with others. Aliens who had once treated humans with suspicion now paused, thinking twice before acting selfishly. Some even began helping others without calculation, inspired by one human's courage. Ethan walked through the station corridors, observing quietly. He did not speak of what had happened. He only noticed the small changes, traders sharing food, aliens helping each other, a small ripple of kindness spreading slowly through the galaxy. Lily joined him. "You see," she said softly. "You may not realize it, but what you did is changing everything." Ethan smiled faintly. "I only helped 2 children, that's all." Lily shook her head. "Sometimes helping 2 children is enough to change many lives. Sometimes humans act in ways others cannot understand. That is what makes them remarkable." Ethan looked out at the distant stars. Somewhere out there, Neera and Kale were safe. Somewhere out there, humans were beginning to earn respect not through fear, not through power, but through heart. And somewhere out there, the galaxy was slowly learning that humans were dangerous, not only because of what they could destroy, but because of what they could protect. He placed his hand on the teddy bear once more. A small smile formed on his lips. "May we always remember," he whispered, "that saving life is more important than everything else." The trade station continued its daily life, but now with a quiet understanding. Humans had acted with compassion in the darkest corner of the galaxy. And that act would not be forgotten. Ethan Brooks, a simple human, had changed more than just the lives of 2 children. He had changed the way the galaxy saw humans forever, and that was enough.